They had skinny dipping.
People related to the camp, but the things I remember most are three. I remember, and it was reinforced by the video of the long dining table where Howie sat at the end, always by the lake, and I was a counselor with the
around the campfires in the lodge, outside the lodge, and on the canoe trips. Three particular instances of campfires stick out in my mind. We almost burned down the girls' lodge one night when we started the fire with je ne sais cologne. I've never been able to smell je ne sais cologne since without thinking about the fire.
First thing that came to my mind was the headquarters store, I think it was called, where everybody had to go and buy a stamp to send a card home to their parents during the summer, write a letter, or you bought Macintosh. And everybody told me, no, that's the canoe headquarters store that you're talking about. So I said, well, what the heck went on there?
Especially about canoe trips, one of the big rituals is coming back and telling every word, every breath, every morsel of food that you ate. So it's very hard, but we couldn't tell this, and I don't know how we know. How does anybody know this thing ever happened? We were out. Usually, is when you were on a canoe trip and you run into another trip, you just make fun of the other guys because they were so stupid. They had this fancy equipment, and stoves and junk they'd be carrying around. We'd have our 3 matches and
And we heard this rustling and some snorting and some activity around these cisterns. And we got up and the bears had taken one of our packs and ripped it open and dragged stuff up the hill. And we all got real scared and we decided, well, we're going to have to do something. And about 100 yards from the campsite, there was a small island. And we kind of somebody decided, well, bears don't swim, do they?
I remember that probably a good number of your parents sent a letter to you so that you had a letter waiting for you when you came to camp for the first time. Thought you'd be in a strange place. I remember that. And not long ago, I was at my office, and my secretary was typing out letters to her children, and I said, well, geez, they're not even going to camp until next week. She said, oh, yeah, but I want to get a letter there when they arrive. And it's just that was funny that mothers do that continually. Bob Wilhelm had carved this moose, and this moose has sat on my bedroom wall for 20 years. Never took it down. And I wanted that moose, and Mr. Wilhelm and I were successfully able to negotiate how many cookies it was that he wanted for this moose. And that's about all I remember about the mail. I just want to say I knew there was going to be a chance to talk because we did that in '86. I was thinking, geez, what do I want to say? And every time I started thinking about it, I wound up coming up with something that was a lot longer than the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. But I guess I can just say it as succinctly as possible by saying it was the best of times.
Yeah, this was towards the end of his life. And he said, you'll have to portage the canoe. So I said, well, that's okay. I'm going to go fishing and so on. Will you carry my pole? So yes. So we went up the road about a mile and went down this wood road. And all I could see as I was portaging was Bill from the knees down. And I said, how much further is this? He said, keep going, dearie. He says, I know where I'm going. We won't get lost. Don't tell anybody where we're going. I said, how can I tell anybody where we're going?
A lot of laughs, a lot of tears. Most of all, a lot of wonderful people we met. As I stand here, I can't help but kind of choke up a little bit. Especially when camp would close. There were tears at the lake, tears on the bus, and I guess tears all the way home. And I guess there's still tears. And the people that made it all happen that are responsible for this are Mr. and Mrs. Clark. At this time, I would like them to come up here. Well, anyhow, I wanted to present the Clarks with something that they would remember us all by. I don't know whether we'll ever have another reunion, but I want this to be a part of their family, and it's a remembrance from all of us. At this time, I want to present this to you, Mr. and Mrs. Clark.
Well, thank you very much. When I saw the video the other night, I cried a little. But I want to tell you that all of you have turned out so wonderfully well, and you're so handsome and good looking and so successful that we're very proud of you. And I know that Bernard joins me in this, and we are going to have another reunion. We got things organized. Else to say. I think we'll have to build a room for this photograph here. Bernie, do you want to say anything?
I know Mrs. Clark has known you a lot longer than I have. 4 years I was with Mrs. Craig. I'll treat me swell. I'll treat everything. Thank you very much.
Again, if any of you have not signed this, be sure and come up and do so.
Favorite memory is at the end of camp when we used to get together and have that last campfire, and we'd get together with candles and then walk down to the lake.
The fondest memory I have are all the wonderful people and friends that I made up there.
Mark, Chuck, and I wrapped a wonderful Camp Otter canoe around a rock in the midst of rapids on our way to
Forever when I think of the North Woods, Bill will be paddling across Otter Lake.
blue shirt, red hair, burly chest, his surface reflecting memories we shared. Canoe tripping summers, wood splitting falls, ice cutting winters, bean planting springs. How gently he showed me, how quietly he inspired me, how deeply he touched me. The Northwoods preserves his